Hey Ben, I'm so glad to have you here in the studio today.
Of course.
I've been hearing so many stories around just how much that you've done. So I've also heard that you've done wrestling for about 7 years. What's that been like?
Um, on and off actually. I've wrestled technically 3 times. So I started in 7th grade for the school. I wrestled club before that in 5th grade. 7th grade, I wrestled all the way through 7th grade. Wound up not wrestling 8th grade because I broke my foot.
Hmm.
Came back freshman year, went freshman through sophomore, quit for school. I had to focus on school. Junior year came back. And then I had to quit recently because of work, having to get a job and pay for a car. But wrestling has taught me a lot. It
Yeah.
teaches you a lot about discipline, about working like individually, but as a team. I don't know, like growing. It taught me a lot about how to grow as an individual,
Yeah.
but with my teammates
Hmm.
and kind of work each other up and build each other up. Um, but it's a tough sport. It really is. It's tough to get into. It's tough to keep up with. A lot of people quit after their first year just because of the fact that it is super hard. A lot of the guys that you see that like dedicate their lives to it are extremely dedicated to it.
Yeah.
They're the most dedicated people that I've seen in my life.
Hmm.
And they'll spend all their time wrestling. We had a couple years ago our captains, Cam and Cam Tipton and Austin Bird, and then we also had Kirk Smitherman. Like I remember, like they would go to club year round,
Yeah.
come into school, wrestle for the school,
Hmm.
and then go right back to club 3 weeks after school season
Oh my
ended.
gosh, that's dedication.
No, for real. And then kind of like leading off of your 7th grade year where you just really like dove hard that one summer. What was that like?
Um, yeah, that was actually really fun, believe it or not. I had my dad as kind of like a support system for that. My dad and my stepdad. My stepdad bought me some workout equipment from my mom's house because my parents are divorced, and him and my dad had talked about it, and they're like, "All right, we'll get him into it." But my dad has always been huge into fitness, and he was also big into like he was big into some fighting, and like he wrestled in high school. And he was also a big baseball player, so he's always kind of been fit and into athletics and fitness. So he got me into lifting that summer. Him and my brother did. Um, and what? Let me run this back. 7th grade, I was maybe 2 inches shorter than I am now. I weighed about anywhere between 95 and 105 pounds. That was like my range. I didn't eat. I wouldn't eat. All I did was play video games, and I'd go to wrestling practice. That was it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't talk to my family. I was going through a lot at the time, like just family wise and
Yeah.
like life change wise. Middle school was a little bit rough for me. So I didn't eat. So my dad kind of picked up on it. And like he knew that like I kind of liked lifting because I would lift with them sometimes and like I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. So he went full bore on it. After wrestling season ended that year, I wrestled 112. He said, "All right, I want you to jump up. You're gonna wrestle 145 next year." So I was like, "How am I gonna like? I'm gonna pack on 30
Yeah.
pounds."
3 months.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, I had about 6 months to prepare and get in shape.
Yeah.
I say get in shape. It's 8th grade wrestling, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's still tough, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that whole summer, like every night was a healthy meal. Every night was steak, chicken and rice. It was, if we were making spaghetti, we were gonna make spaghetti, and it was gonna be like bison meatballs, and it was always something like super high in volume. Like my meals were always really good. But the crazy thing is, this is what my dad did to help me gain weight. Every single night after dinner, I had to drink 2 things of mass gainer, 2 whole shakers of mass gainer.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Yeah. I had to lift. Like if I didn't lift, he wouldn't shame me for it, but he'd be like,
Come on, dude.
"Come on, dude, like let's get on it."
Exactly.
He would take me on runs with him. Um, and granted, he had to stop running, but he would take me on runs with him. I mean, like it became like I became dedicated to fitness over that
Yeah.
period of time. I started riding my bike a lot, and actually that's how I broke my foot. I was mountain biking, and that was um but no, I mean that summer was it was tough. It was like basically like 75 hard, but the bro split and done by my dad. And I don't know,
Done by my dad. 75 hard, done by my dad. So how would you say that fitness and that discipline that you learned was 7th grade year, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. How has that transitioned into your regimen day to day now?
It taught me how to get up early. I'll tell you that. And even to this day, if I like, it could be a Saturday, a Sunday. Actually, I work on Saturdays. I have to be up at 6 anyways. But um, Sundays, like if I'm not up by 8 a.m., my dad comes in my room and he'll straight up like set off the smoke alarm.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
he's psycho. He's a hard dad, but it works. I mean, like it's taught me how to get up early in the mornings. And like the one thing that he says is like it's gonna suck for the first 5 minutes. But
Yeah.
once you get past that first 5 minutes, it's not that bad.
Exactly.
He's like, you just gotta keep moving. And I've applied that logic to just about everything in life.
Yeah.
Like a lot of hard things suck at first. Running sucks. You know that. Running sucks.
Yeah.
But once you get past like the first mile, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
You get used to the pain, you get used to it. It's the same thing with waking up. I mean, I wake up at 4:30 every morning most of the time.
Yeah.
Most days, about four out of 5 days of the week, I'll wake up at 4:30 in the morning and I'll go and lift. And no, I don't want to be up at 4:30. It sucks. It's pretty horrible, honestly. But at the same time, I get so much more done when I wake up that early that it pays off. Because then at night I can go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock and still have time to do the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
So it works out. But yeah, no, I mean, that's a lot of the stuff that I've learned that summer. Like I haven't stopped working out since then. I've never had a break from working out. Even when I broke my foot, I worked out. When I tore my hip, I was still working out. When I tore my shoulder, I was still working out. Through concussions, my doctor got on to me, but I still worked out. Um,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't say that like I shame myself over it, but I mean, if I don't get those things done, I know that it's gonna affect me for the rest of the day.
Yeah, like you don't
Yeah.
feel as accomplished.
Yeah.
Mentally, it pushes you forward to
Yeah.
attack all the rest of your tasks.
And you mentioned that your dad did boxing. Did he kind of get you into that?
He did. He got me into that at an early age, and then I've been in and out of boxing for a while. But that got me into wrestling, got me into jujitsu. I haven't really done much with jujitsu. I want to get into that a lot more now. that I
Yeah.
actually have time. Um, but I mean, it got me in all kinds of different things. Like I love martial arts. I love combat sports. That's like I love watching them. I love doing it. I love trying new things.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he definitely helped get me into that. He was the one. I mean, like everything was 6th grade. I was like, it was that summer. I was like, I think I want to wrestle for the school next year, and he was like, okay.
Hmm.
And he did everything he could. He made sure that I wrestled for the school that year. And my life kind of became dedicated to that. So, yeah, I mean, my dad has been like I said, he's just been a huge support system. I take a lot of inspiration from him. I mean, I take a lot of inspiration from both my parents. My mom is very like big on spreading positivity,
Yeah.
being like open with people and like emotionally available all the time, and that's taught me a lot too. Like I base my every day on trying to impact people's lives in
Yeah.
a positive way. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Both of my parents have been really good about that. But yeah, my dad was a boxer. I think that's why he's kind of so hard on me too, is just because he's always had like a hard mentality as
Yeah.
to being like disciplined and doing things every day a certain
Exactly.
way.
Now, going into that, you obviously do a lot of other things. I heard you detail cars.
I do.
How'd you get into that?
So I was actually, I think it was my 15th birthday. I got my car when I was 14.
Yeah.
Me and my dad built it in the garage. It's been trouble ever since, but I still have it even now. I don't daily it anymore, thankfully. But my dad, when I was 15, I think it was for my birthday, he bought me a detailing kit.
Yeah.
So like we got a clay bar, we got a buffer, we got all kinds of stuff. And I just remember like him sitting down over a period of about a week and teaching me everything. And then from there I started kind of loving it. So I mean, like I would detail that car every month, and I got good at it. And then my dad found the job at Donahue. Um, and they had a sign out front. They were going to look for a car, and then he calls me one day. He's like, "Hey, call this guy."
Yeah.
It was Jason Ash. He's the detail manager and safety instructor at Donahue, or safety manager. Great guy. So I call him. I go in, get the interview, whatever, and then I start doing that. So I mean, I do that. I work about 26 hours a week, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it really kind of is when you factor in what days I'm working. I'm working 5 days a week. My only off day is Tuesday, and
Yeah.
of course Sunday. So Saturdays I work 8 to 6, and I'm just detailing.
Mhm.
But detailing is, I like it a lot because it's tough and it's really tedious
Mhm.
and it's hard to get right, especially like it kind of throws your confidence down a little bit when you clean a car by yourself and you get it all done and you think you're done and you've done all the final touches and everything, and then you get, we have one of our team leaders, Kevin. You get him over there, he comes to check the car, he's got his little checklist, and he's looking around with his flashlight and he's like, "You missed this, you missed this, you missed this, you missed this, and you missed this." And he's like, "You got to go back and do all this and get it done in 20 minutes."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Great.
I just spent
Great.
2 hours cleaning this thing for you. So it's definitely tough, and it's not meant to be easy. I think, um, I don't know. I mean, it's a good job to have, especially at this age, because it helps me a lot with like keeping my discipline.
Mhm.
And I get off at 6 too, which is nice.
Yeah.
So I can actually work on the things I need to work on.
And it like teaches you how to mentally hone in and really just focus, like let everything go and just focus on the task that you're doing.
Oh yeah, because it's really easy to get off task when you're detailing. It
Yeah.
really is, because you'll be vacuuming and you'll find a stain in the carpet, and then it'll be really hard to put that off for 5 minutes to go do the thing that you're supposed to do after you vacuumed.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's really easy to get off task, like really easy.
Yeah.
You
Uh,
obviously would like want to pay attention to the little details too. So
Definitely.
Which I guess too, your dad has really instilled in you of like, no, it is 5 minutes of toughness, but once you're up, you're up. And
Yeah.
once you're 5 minutes into your run, you're in your run, just that 5 minute rule. So that's really great.
yeah.
I was already good at the detail oriented stuff too, just because he has severe OCD.
Let me emphasize that.
So
Severe OCD.
like he would go to work when I was like 14, and he would go to work and he'd be gone till 6, and I'd stay home or I'd go out with friends. But before I went out with friends, I had to clean the house. And
Yeah.
if the house was not cleaned
To
to
a
the
T.
degree that he wanted it to be clean, that he knew that I could do, like, and it was all reasonable, but it was like to the degree that he knew that I was capable of,
Mhm.
then he would go off on me that night and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
like, what's
Fix
up with
it.
this?"
Yeah.
So, it got to a point where like I didn't like getting yelled at for that. So I started focusing on small details. So I don't know, detailing kind of, I get back in that mindset of like, get it done to my full potential.
Mhm.
So, and if you do everything with like full effort into your full potential, then everything will work out.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then obviously you have so many unique things about you, but one thing that you are very honed in on right now too is music. How has
Yeah.
that kind of impacted your life, and how do you plan to, I guess, impact that realm?
So music is huge to me. Music is something that I'm constantly surrounded by. I mean, I walk around, I'll have an AirPod in most of the time, like everyone else, but I'm usually actively listening. I have an hour every day of what I call active listening, which is basically where I will listen to songs that I, don't listen to that often or that I haven't heard yet. I'll listen to new music or even music that I know. And if I haven't before, I'll break it down. I'll
Yeah.
seriously, I'll get out. I have a notepad, multiple notepads now, probably 10 of them, that are completely filled with just me breaking down songs. So I'm
Yeah.
breaking down the timing, I'm breaking down the key, I'm breaking down everything about the song, and I'm studying it, and then I'm using those ideas that I get from that song and writing down and jotting down those ideas and humming those ideas later on. That way I have something to, use when I do want to write a song. So then I use that in my songwriting too. So when I go to write a riff, I'll think about 5 different songs I listened to over the week. But yeah, I mean, that's an hour every day that I spend active listening, and I'm also listening a lot and active listening at school. I keep that notepad in my backpack actually. Um, so yeah, music is huge to me. Music has always been huge to me. It held emotional value to me when I was 3 years old. Riding around with my dad and his old, he had this old daily driver. It was a Mazda 626. And I think he had JBL speakers in it. I remember listening to Tool for the first time in that car. And I was probably 4 years old and I loved every single second of it. And it got me into music. It got me into rock, really. But yeah, music is huge. I remember the first time I ever played guitar was I was kind of just slinking around after my parents. It might have been no, they were still together at this point. We were living in a little house in Brook Island, and I remember going into my brother's closet because he was at his mom's house at the time, and I wasn't supposed to be in there. This is my older brother's closet. Of course, he wouldn't want me to be in there. No older brother wants their older brother in their closet. So I go in there and I pick up this. He had this old classical guitar. It was like a little like baby classical. I don't even remember what brand it was, to be honest with you. But he had the guitar in there, and I remember picking it up and just sitting in there for like an hour, just strumming on it, just like just playing around on it. And I was probably 3 or 4 years old at this point. And of course, my dad's like trying to find me around the house. He's like, "Where did Ben go?" He's freaking out. My sister's freaking out, and they walk into Philip's room and they see me in the floor with this guitar, just laying there, just doing this, just strumming away. And I guess probably a few months later, my dad bought me my own guitar. I had another little baby classical. I still have that guitar. Um, and it kind of just sparked. I mean, it sparked interest. I don't know. And my dad saw that I really loved it, so he went like just like he did with wrestling, just like he did with fitness. Both my parents went full bore into it. My mom signed me up for lessons. My dad bought me the guitar, and it was like every night I sat down and I played guitar.
That's awesome.
I was 6 years old when I got my first real guitar, which was, I think it was a C135. It was a Fender acoustic concert guitar. It's a nice guitar, especially for a 6-year-old.
Kind of like we're gonna hook a brother up.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I still play that thing now. It's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I fell in love with it, and it helped me fall in love with music even more too, because then I was able to express my ideas, express my emotions through the guitar. Any anger or frustration or whatever I have throughout the day, I'll take it out on the guitar, or I'll take it out now on the other instruments, the mandolin. I'll take it on the bass. I mean, like, anytime I have an idea, I have that at my fingertips now because I use that love.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you
So
plan on doing anything musical out of high school?
definitely, that's been my dream since I was probably 12 years old.
Yeah.
The end goal, like we talked about, impacting people positively.
Mhm.
My end goal is to get to a point where I want to start my own nonprofit,
Yeah.
and I kind of want to do what Mason Music does,
Mhm.
which is like basically granting instruments and granting facilities to kids that aren't as privileged.
Yeah.
So people in impoverished communities can come together and kind of get their kids off the streets
Mhm.
and into something that might interest them, into something that might like actually help them learn something, meaningful to them or
Yeah.
useful. Like I said, take out those emotions on an instrument, and not on things that you're not supposed to be doing. So that's my kind of end goal. It's one of my dreams is to start my own nonprofit to be able to do that. I want to call it Heartstrings. But aside from that, my goal right now is to get into college to go in and learn production. I want to get into music production, and I want to write and produce my own music too. But yeah, I want to use that and my gift and my ability to be able to like impact people in a positive way.
Yeah.
And make this world a better place.
That's amazing.
That's really great. You're such a cool person. Like, you have so many different outlets and everything.
Yeah.
And everything that you've said, like, you truly care about, and it truly has meaning in your life. At some point you got to stop pouring into things that are meaningless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pouring your thoughts and your time and your energy into things that are ultimately not beneficial for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I still catch myself struggling with things like that though. I mean, like I'm chronically late, like chronically late. I'm horrible about it. I always have been. My mom is the same way. My dad hates it. He is not the same way. He is on time all the time. If he is not on time, it bothers him to the nth degree. So, and my sister is also that way. But my mom is also like chronically late, but she's actually helped me out a lot, trying to be on time. And so is my dad. My dad just basically said at this point, he's like, every single time that I'm late to school now, I lose $50.
Oh my gosh.
Dang.
So he's like, the only thing that you seem to understand at this point is money. So
Yeah.
he's like, so every time you're late to school or to work, you lose $50. He's like, you can make that $50 back.
Yeah.
But
it's time.
Yeah.
Effort.
Yeah.
So, when I start like in the mornings, I'm late most of the time because I'll pour my time into something that doesn't really matter that much. Like, I want to say this morning, I was trying to figure out how to get this shirt to like straighten out.
Like, how do I iron this?
Yeah. Because I don't think I've ironed a shirt by myself maybe like 3 times my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I still suck at tying a tie. I know how to do it, and I know it looks right, but I can't do it myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I got stuck on that this morning. Some mornings I'll get stuck on, what my little peach fuzz looks like on my chin. There are certain little small things that we get stuck on in life though that'll cause us to like get held up.
Yeah.
And people get stuck on high school friendships too much. Getting stuck in a certain clique or a certain social group. I've never really cared that much about it, but I mean, like, I'll still catch myself sometimes. I'll be like, "Oh man, I wish I was popular."
Yeah.
I'm like, do I really?
Exactly.
Because right now, I'm actually doing something that means something.
And it's going to impact the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Popularity is only a status you can keep in high school.
Yeah, peaking in high school is not all that.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
it's not.
I'd rather peak like outside of high school
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And two, people don't understand that right now is the prime time to work behind the scenes, to work your butt off. I mean, you're young, you're capable, your mind's open to so many different things. Like now is the time to shape your perspective, get your values, like put down what you want to accomplish in life, you know? And if you neglect that, I mean, that's hard to get it back when those people that have worked behind the scenes are now at that next level.
Yeah.
And you're trying to catch up to them at like 24 when you're out of college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
definitely hard to get like that lost time back when like other people the same age as you are so far ahead of you because you started late.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
with doing so much, what would you think your greatest piece of advice would be for someone who has a high goal and tried to reach that goal?
Apply what you know. I mean, you can sit here, I can sit here, all of us can sit here and talk about discipline, about what we're going to plan out, about what's going to happen in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
What our goals are, but it means absolutely nothing if you don't go and do it.
Exactly.
You have to figure out how to get up, and a lot of it is just making connections and finding the right people to talk to. I go to my dad a lot for advice. Like when I came up with the idea for the nonprofit, the first person I went to is my dad. I was like, how do I do this? He's like, you need a grant writer. I was like, okay. So I went and I found like 5 different grant writers. I've sat on that idea for a year now just because of the fact that school got in the way or whatever. But I want to get back to that. How am I going to do that? I'm going to call those people up.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to get anywhere if I don't call those people and figure it out.
Yeah.
Because there is a way to do it.
Yeah. Because closed mouths don't get fed.
Exactly. So you have to, and it's not only just about doing it, it's about doing it with 100% effort. So like, it's like Grace talked about on the podcast, a couple weeks, what was that, a week ago?
Yeah.
When
he came on, he was talking about his parents, about his grades. Y'all asked him about his grades, and he said that my parents don't really necessarily care what my grades are as long as I'm putting in all of my effort.
Yeah.
As long as you put in all of your effort, it doesn't really matter if the outcome is, insanely good or insanely bad. If you put in all of your effort, you're going to be able to look back and say, I did.
You're going to get somewhere.
I sucked. It's whatever. I'll move on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it just you have to be able to be willing to do that, to put
Exactly.
yourself all in.
Because too, like to your point, when you go all in, you'll find out what you're meant to do.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing that you're meant to do, you are gonna be super successful in it. I mean, obviously it takes time, but I mean, if you're putting all your effort into something and it's not really moving like consistently and you're not having passion for it every day, then it's time to move to the next thing.
Yeah, and you really never know like what your full potential is until you like try,
Exactly.
until you go all
Exactly.
in. Well, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
of
coming in
course.
today. It was an amazing interview.
Yeah,
Thank you.
filling us in on all your good things. Oh my gosh, such a cool dude.